What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. So, over the course of the past couple weeks, I've done some Sealand clears, and a lot of people in the comments that might have been newer to the game did actually realize that 3-star heroes can be amazing support heroes when you're trying to finish a Sealand 20 in any faction. Well, most factions. Some of the factions don't really have great ones. Other ones have absolutely amazing god tier ones for CC, because that's really what you're looking for out of these 3-star heroes. You're looking for ones that have the most reliable and optimal CC chances to make sure your heroes, your E5s, aren't getting hit as many times, so that they keep their unbending will layers and then they can finally win. So we're actually going to do a tier list, so to speak. We're going to go through each faction. We're going to start probably we can go in the normal order. It's gonna go heavily into the Shadow. The two best factions are Shadow and Fortress for 3 stars. Light's pretty good too, but let's jump right into it, and hopefully you guys learn a little something about what 3-star heroes you can actually use in your Sealand lineups. So as far as where we're going to place these heroes, mainly what we are looking for out of these 3-star support heroes are going to be very good, like 100% chance CC abilities, because technically I believe in Sealand all the enemies have a 30% chance to not be CC'd, essentially control immunity. The bosses cannot be controlled whatsoever, the big guy in the back. So what we're looking for is ones that have very reliable CC abilities. Better if it's on a basic, but there's very few that actually do. Most are going to be inactive, so of course a lot of these you're going to need a magic source, a demon bell, an orb of annihilation, anything that gives energy to your heroes. These are going to be very big and very important. So let's start off in the Shadow faction. We are going to go first with Chainhammer. Chainhammer we're going to put down in the C tier. He has a 35% chance to stun on his active ability. His basic, well, he doesn't really have a basic, he has like a counterattack, but he does have a chance to stun both frontline targets for 35% chance, so that's not all too bad. Next up is going to be Poison Tongue. So Poison Tongue we're actually going to put in C as well. His basic attack has a chance to CC, to actually freeze one target by 25% chance. Not that great. And then if he does get an active off, he will hit one enemy and reduce their armor by 24%. So is it great? No, not really. I mean, it's okay, but it's not really that great. Next up, we do have Shirley. So Shirley's actually not that bad, but not many people use her. The problem here with Shirley is her active ability, and I think even her basic hits a random target and has a 20% chance to freeze them, so that alone is decent. But her active ability has a chance to hit one random backline enemy. That is a 100% chance freeze. But the downside is you want heroes that CC the front row more than the back row, because you could hit the back row and then, it ends up hitting the boss, which does absolutely nothing. So that's kind of where she's like, okay, she's not horrible, but she's not really all that great. Now the next one is pretty much garbage tier, and that is the Dark Priest. His basic ability has a 30% chance to silence the target, which means they'll still attack. They just can't use their active ability. In comparison to the other ones, his active ability doesn't do anything. It just is what it is. And then lastly, we have the first S tier, God tier, 3-star hero. So his basic does nothing, but Ice Trolls have one of the best, I guess you say, is one of the best CCs for the Shadow faction, and that's because the active ability is going to hit both frontline enemies. Number one, it's going to reduce their armor by 21% for 2 rounds, and then also have a 50% chance to freeze warrior enemies, and of course the front two in every single faction are warriors, so those are really good. A lot of people who are building a Horus to do Sealand typically have the Ice Trolls too, and the benefit there is they're both warriors, so you'll be getting your guild tech from the Horus, the warrior faction. You'll be getting it for the Ice Trolls as well. So overall, those are going to be all the Shadow ones. Yeah, I mean, overall, they have some of the best ones out there. They really do. We're going to move over to the Fortress faction. And Fortress is going to be one that's kind of bad. We're going to lead it off with Reggie. Reggie's basic has a chance to reduce the target's precision, which is not great. The active ability doesn't do anything. He has like a heal because he is a priest, but the heal doesn't really do all that much for us. So we don't really care. Yeah, so after that we have Carver again. Our D tier is going to fill up really fast, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the newest one on the left here so you guys can potentially see it. There's going to be a lot of D tier 3-star heroes, so just be prepared. His active ability is against one random backline enemy, which again, not great because it's backline, and increases himself 15% of block for 2 rounds. Not good, don't really care about that. Another one that's coming up next is going to be Tara's Servant. We're going to stick that one down at the bottom as well because Honest Heart, her passive ability, it's a basic attack that reduces the target by 5% attack. That's it. She's a priest. She does some healing. Doesn't really do anything very great. So that's why we really don't talk about her. But the next man you've recently seen is going to be Fire Fist. Fire Fist is one of the best CC heroes you can bring to your lineup. His basic doesn't do anything, but his active ability has one random enemy, so technically that can be frontline or backline. Yes, it can hit the boss and then be useless, but it is a 100% chance to stun for 2 rounds. So essentially that's a 70% chance because the enemies will have 30% control immunity. You've seen it in every Penny, Sherlock, like every Fortress Sealand we've done. Most likely you have seen some of these Fire Fists in the lineup, and man, oh man, do they absolutely crush it. Next up is one you don't really get seen very often, is MK05, and that's because Fire Fist is just so good. I'm actually going to put him at the A tier. So his basic attack has a 10% chance to petrify. That's kind of useless there. But the active skill is damaging against 3 random enemies and has a 40% chance to petrify assassins for 2 rounds. Wait a minute. I didn't realize it said assassins. I thought all the time it was just random. Yeah, there's no assassins like in any Sealand. Garbage tier confirmed. Don't use MK05. I don't know why, for some reason, I thought it was that way, but hey, it is what it is. So, next we're going to be moving to the Abyss faction. First up, Abyss Guard is just complete garbage. Just don't even bother with Abyss Guard. He's not going to do anything for you. He doesn't have any CC. He doesn't have anything like that. Not a good hero. As you guys can tell, the Abyss faction is not good for 3 stars. Next up, we have Wild Beast. His basic heals himself. He deals damage against frontline enemies and reduces warrior foes by 21% of armor. I guess because he does hit warriors in the front row, which are in Sealand, we could put that in the C tier. But again, really not great at all. Next up we have Succubus, which literally only has a debuff of like 5% crit chance for 1 target, so that's really not good at all. We have Flaming Lips next. Yeah, Flaming Lips doesn't do anything that you want to do in this at all, so don't pick Flame Lips either. Who else do we have? Mirko. I think Mirko can do something. Hold on, it's been a bit since I've read his attacks. Has a 30% chance to burn the target. So if you are using a Phoenix, that's actually not too bad because when he takes damage, he has a 30% chance to target or to burn the target. I'll put that down in the C tier because that's just really not that great, but at least it's a burn. Like, I guess that helps if you're trying to synergize with Phoenix and you're not using a burning hero in the Abyss faction, which really is just Cthulhu. So yeah, I mean, it kind of is what it is when it comes to that. Next up, we're going to be going into Forest, and Forest is pretty much another garbage tier. So Sybil, all you do is poison people. You don't do anything of any use whatsoever. Again, I've never even read this one's name. Undamiel, I don't know what it is. All I know is it's really, really bad, so don't use him. He doesn't do anything. Blue Shaman, really, just healing. Not going to be a hero you use once again. Like I said, Force is going to be really bad here, guys. And this one here next up is Frey. Frey just bleeds the target, so I mean, I guess we can throw him in the C tier in case you're using a wolf pet and you need the bleed synergy. That's really the only side benefit to that. And then lastly, we do have Jungle Captain. Now, Jungle Captain has a little bit of use. We might bump her up to the B tier. So each basic attack has a 20% chance to silence the target. Not great, but the active ability deals damage against frontline enemies and reduces them by 21% armor. So that's actually nothing to joke about. Like 21% armor is a decent amount. Kind of like what Shirley's bringing to the table. Very, very similar. But beyond that, like that's literally the only thing you got. We're gonna move on to the dark faction now, because that is all the normal faction 3 stars. Over the dark faction, we of course have Ghost of Aspen. His basic attack has a 25% chance to reduce the armor of the target by 20%, increase self armor. That doesn't really matter, that part. But the active ability deals damage against one random enemy and has a 100% chance to petrify the target for 2 rounds. So that's actually not too bad. The reason why he won't be in the S tier though is because if you're doing Dark Sealand, most likely you have your damage dealer, you have one carry somewhere between a 5 and 10 star carry, or E5 even, and then of course you have an army of Amun-Ra's. Now if for some reason you have a really strong hero, like you got a void imprinted like Drake or something like that, but you don't have the Amun-Ra's, using Ghost of Aspen with energy, it's not too bad because you can get some petrifies off. Is it 2-round petrify? It's not too bad, so definitely consider that in my opinion. It's something worth looking at if you don't have the most optimal lineup. And then last but certainly not least, we have Holy Kid. So Holy Kid is another one that's going up in that god tier. Basically, the active ability has a chance to target one random enemy and CC them with a stun, 100% chance for 2 rounds. You guys have seen pretty much every Russell clear. You can have 1 Russell and 5 of these Holy Kids, some of them with energy artifacts, some of them with not. It just makes the run so much easier. So much easier. So if you guys are looking for some support heroes, the top 4 are really the top 3 of the ones you want to go for. There are some other ones in the middle that have some uses if you just don't have any other support heroes, you don't have 5 stars, because let's be honest, in the early game when you're trying to push your first Sealand 20, it's really hard to even have 5-star support heroes because you're really pumping all that food into your one hero. You're trying to plan in the future. So hopefully this helps you guys out. I know this is a really weird tier list to do, but I was just thinking about the other day after doing the Fire Fist clear. I've done the Russell clear the week before with Holy Kids. I've done the Warrior one with a couple of these ice trolls too. It's just, I feel like people need to know that yes, some 3 stars can have some use in a niche part of the game. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Take 1 second, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below if you've had experience with one of these 3 stars and absolutely just blew your mind like I did. But like every time I use Fire Fist, those stuns are just amazing. A lot of RNG goes into it because you got to get that stun chance or that freeze chance or that silence or whatever it is. And I'll see you guys next time.